Ah, yes. I'm looking at it and I'm so proud of myself. Good morning, everyone. The mic is on.
Yeah, good.
We are online. We are just, and we're way far away. I stuck a camera way in the back. So anyway, yeah. Mary says, she said before we went on the air the other day, she said, "You're trying to be so fancy with your camera switcher." I said,
switching angles the whole
yeah,
time.
El Professional, man. We're just yeah. If you have it, use it, man. That's all I have to say. Hey,
What?
it was a good week. I am still. Thank you for all of the thank yous that you have given me for me slinging out my Joanna Gaines paint match on the bathroom all by myself. How.
Yeah, you did good.
It was, we're, as you guys know, we mentioned a little bit, we're remodeling the rest of the house, and we started with the bathroom. And again, we can no longer label it as the Deer Hunter bathroom.
Deer camp bathroom.
Deer camp bathroom. I want to say Deer Hunter bathroom. Deer camp bathroom. That would include a deer hunter. Anyway.
That's all I could see when I walked in there every time. Oh, it just belongs in a hunter's camp or a fisher's camp or something.
It does. It does, man.
It
is. And so, and it was, the wall paint wasn't that bad. It's just what it was.
Yeah.
Was
it was kind of.
Well, it was with the trim being, it's not exactly golden oak, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
It had that red.
Yeah.
And it still does on the trim, because I'm going to take care of that after church today. But I'm going to ask you something about painting, because most people hate painting. They just hate it.
Yeah.
What is one of the, just think of the first thing you can think of that you hate about painting. You're going to say painting.
No. One thing I hate about painting is when you first start, you're okay with it. And all of a sudden it's, why?
Why did
Why
you
did I
start?
do this?
Why did you start?
And
yeah.
it's because, well, you either start getting little drips, which you have to then stop and clean up,
Yeah.
or it's that cutting in, cutting
Yeah.
in next to the trim
Uh-huh.
and stuff. That's what I hate most.
That's-
Because I think I can do it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I start off, and next thing
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
white trim has some
What-
color all down it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably the most tedious part. I'll tell you, the worst thing that I hate about painting is not necessarily painting, but where you paint at. Kind of similar to what you're
Yeah.
saying on the trim,
Yeah.
and that's painting behind the commode.
That's right. I was wondering about that.
Oh,
with
I hate that.
you. I would have moved that toilet out of
Oh,
there.
well, the toilet's going to come out,
But I'm glad it didn't come out
not yet.
because
The other one
then
backed
the
up.
other one just, I went to flush it and it starts overflowing.
In the middle of the night.
And I'm grabbing the plunger and water's flowing on my feet,
Oh,
and I've got
no.
towels, and
Oh,
it
man.
was horrible.
That's another
So,
issue we have
I'm
to
glad we
address.
didn't.
Good
I know.
morning, Henry. Yeah, man. I hope your day is filled with blessings too. It always is for us. It really is. You too. Yeah, and see how much did actually come out of it. I mean, was it a lot, or just enough to get your
I'd
feet
say
wet?
about a gallon. It took me
Oh,
two thick
no,
towels to get it.
no.
To get it,
That's terrible.
yeah.
That's terrible. But yeah, that's the worst thing that I hate about painting is painting behind a toilet.
Yeah.
I just cannot stand it. I can't stand it, and or just a tight place. And then we talked about painting the closet, and then thank goodness you said why.
Yeah. Yes. Why?
Why? So, and I said,
It's
well,
not
yeah.
like it's a walk-in closet.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's a sizable closet.
It
but
is, but
It's dark no matter what. There's not even a light in there.
Yeah.
So
all I'm going to do is
why?
go in there with a damp rag and just
Yeah.
wipe it all down.
Yeah.
I am going to have to lay flooring in there.
Yeah. That'll be
I
okay.
decided on that because
yeah, that's
if not,
fine.
it's
yeah.
yeah, because it's
That-
open all the
that's
time.
good. That's good.
It's open a lot, and it would
Yeah.
just look so.
I know because you leave it open and it
I
drives me
know.
crazy.
I know. I try to work on that. I really do. I really do.
Because Ollie goes in there looking for socks that you've dropped in there, and then if he gets one, he
Oh
eats it.
yeah, yeah. Ollie loves his socks, man. He loves to ingest them. Luckily, we haven't had a vet bill yet of intestine operation.
I had one
Did you
vet
have
bill
one?
before you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But they were able to get whatever it was to pass out through like a laxative and a
Hmm.
probiotic, and yeah,
So
they
he
got
didn't-
it out.
You
without
didn't
that.
have to. You'd have to be cut on.
No.
Yeah, that's a very expensive bill.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is, and it's about certain dogs, especially doodles, golden doodles.
They just seem to have a thing.
Dish rags, excuse me,
Yep.
socks.
I found dish rags in his poop.
I have too. Now that I
Not
did.
a whole dish rag, but he
Yeah,
likes to rip them up
pieces,
and then
yeah.
he eats them.
I don't know.
So yeah, and I found all kinds of stuff. Yeah, there. Look, there's our dish rag. you
There's
know?
the dish. I wonder what happened to that. But yeah, getting back to the remodeling or whatever, and I'm excited.
You're doing
When-
good. You
when-
got up so early yesterday morning. You were like a little boy, all excited to start that.
I
whole
was
thing.
like a little boy going fishing.
Yeah, you really were.
And all I was doing was driving from Weimar to Brenham to go to Lowe's. I went to Brenham, by the
Oh,
way,
did you?
because I knew they had what I needed in stock.
You left at 5:30 in the morning.
I got up at 3:45. I told him yesterday, I said, somebody came in. I said, what you doing up so early, baby? And you said, my heater left.
Yeah, you're my heater.
Yeah.
But we had painted that first room the first night. You painted that.
I did.
Okay, there's this color called Bird's Eye Maple. It's the most beautiful color. It's not yellow and it's not brown. It's your perfect golden camel color, and I love that color. And so I came home from work and you had that bathroom. I walked in there and it's bright lemon yellow, and I'm like, no.
It was.
It was horrible.
And you thought, and I thought that they had mixed it wrong.
That's right.
and
Then
so,
they put it in the kitchen, and it's my beautiful color.
Yeah.
So it's the lighting
Yeah.
and the size of the bathroom, I guess. But anyway, yeah. So we had to put our heads together on what we had. All kind of colors we almost went with,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden I said just alabaster white. It's a
Alabama,
great
can't
color
go-
of
it-
white.
that is a beautiful
And
color.
let's just stop all this,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we'll draw colors out in different ways.
Yeah.
Add color in another way
Mhm.
other than paint. And But then you came home with the lightest little gray for the bottom part for
mean,
the
yeah.
wainscoting, and that's really worked out well. Good job.
As soon as I walked in the door, man, I headed straight towards the paint department, and I found the alabaster on the swatch card, and it took me a while because I knew we talked about it. And then, like you said, we were just going to go all alabaster, wainscoting and everything. I said, man, just let me at least look,
Yeah.
you know?
And if I could have gone, I would have looked. That would have been my thought, but I knew I couldn't go.
Yeah,
And kind of afraid to send Chip Gaines out. To
Chip,
get a color.
Chip Gaines to find colors for Joanna Gaines. And yeah, I love those two so much. They are
great.
I love watching that show, even though that's no longer, it's reruns. But,
Yeah.
but so again, I was, and guys, let me say this, there's two ways why, maybe two or three ways why I do know my paint. First of all, the eye, that came from my mom. Just that's that lady part of me, man, and I'm proud of it. But I mean, not only that, but just being in the paint business for a long time, both being a contractor and even working in stores way back when. But so when somebody looks at a white, you know, they look at a white and they just kind of say, well, it's some kind of white. But, and you have the same gift. You have to look into that white and see reds.
Yeah,
there might be
because
some greens,
it's going to
grays.
have some kind of undertone.
It's going to have some kind of undertone. And naturally, when you're looking at the swatches, they have them all laid out where your greens and then it goes to a white, or the white's at top and then goes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't even go over where they had the long swatches. I went over with the little small swatches.
That was brave of you.
It was very brave of me. But it was just some real, it was Sherwin-Williams, you know, at Lowe's. And I, after about the 10th swatch card, that's when I found that Nubius White.
Mm-hmm.
What a name.
It works well.
Nubius White.
It's a very lightest gray, but just enough to break up all the white.
It did. So we do have two colors, but it didn't overwhelm anything. And it did highlight the shower, which we were talking about replacing. And we said,
Glad we didn't.
no. And all it needs is some TLC. So anyway, I'm down to getting just one more coat on the baseboards and then the small trim, getting that painted. And then it'll be time to lay some floor down.
Yeah.
Which I want to get started today. And it's since it's such a small bathroom, it'll get done today.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I've done a lot of homework, and people that have done it say, oh, it's easy, man. It's no rocket science to laying down flooring.
Tune in next week, y'all.
Next week when I'm even more bald than I am now. When I don't have any hair to pull out anyway. But yeah, so no, it'll be fine. And it's just like anything else. When you're building something, it's all about making it look good, making it look square as possible, and and it'll be fine. And I did so many things to watching other guys do it, and then one guy he dedicated a whole video of laying down vinyl plank flooring on the don'ts because he had did it.
Okay.
In other words,
Okay.
don't. And so he made a video saying, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, do this. So, and not only that, but, just looking, a lot of it to really make it look good, though, is the cuts. It's the staggering, the stair stepping as you make your runs. You start at the wall. So, and then she asked me the other night, I'm laying on the love seat. She's over there on the recliner, and I got my flashlight on my phone, man. I'm sitting there, and I'm shining it all on the floor. She goes, what are you doing? And I was looking at the way that the guy, I'll say his name, Tyler Pate, he was a guy from Belleville. He's the one that laid our flooring the first time. And I was just looking for the seams.
Yeah.
On each plank and to see if he did it the way everyone else, and of course he did. But so yeah, I'm excited. And yes, this is the Gathering Table podcast, but this is the home improvement Chip and Joanna Gaines edition, the first part anyway. Brought to you by Magnolia Homes. She does great work though. That woman has an eye.
She does.
She does.
Amazing.
And modern, she can do farmhouse, she can do
European, whatever.
European, early
Italian.
Italian, and so yeah. But I normally we talked about doing the second phase for the longest time, and there was somewhat of a dread in it because we waited so long
That's right.
from the time we moved in.
Yes.
So I lost the spark
That's right.
to a certain
You
extent.
just become comfortably numb.
Comfortably numb with
to
what
the
your
entire
surroundings.
thing. Yeah.
But then she started bringing it up, and again, it's an old house, but there's so much character to it.
Yeah.
And so once I started getting the paint on the walls and stuff like that, then you saw what happened. I sparked up.
You did.
And now I'm like, I'm just going to work till 2 o'clock in the morning.
I know.
And I almost did.
I know you did. It was hard to get you to go to sleep.
And then I said, I know, just like a little kid waiting for Christmas
That's
morning.
right.
Or going fishing. So anyway, I had to calm myself down, and my body was tired, but my mind was spinning. You saw it. You saw it. It was spinning. And then the one thing was when I was driving to Brenham yesterday to Lowe's, I listened to Charles a little bit, and then I shut it off and I prayed, and it was just meditating, and I kept reiterating to myself, and I said, and Holy Spirit, please remind me on this remodel, because you can ask the Holy Spirit anything. I said, let me take my time. A lot of times in my past, when I was younger, I just want to just get it done.
That's right.
And that's when mistakes come in and regrets. And
Well, that's like anything. That's like with cooking. That's like with any kind of
Yes,
project
yes,
that you're doing.
yes.
The slower you go, don't rush and don't take shortcuts. And, there is no shortcuts in cooking and construction. Stop.
A lot of it is age now.
And enjoy the process.
Age and experience, I would say, when it comes to stuff like that, but still there's a little bit in me that goes, come on, man. Like I said, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Come on, you can have this whole bathroom done in a weekend. Yeah. Well, maybe. I don't know. Might. It's close. And then we'll leave this as far as remodeling. Then the next is the kitchen, and I surprised you yesterday because we're putting an island in.
Yeah.
Island is just the big thing now for homes.
It's needed in the kitchen,
and it's
in our
needed.
kitchen.
So the little 1960s little brown table and chairs will be kept, but they will be exited
another
to
room.
the mudroom
Yeah.
/ whatever that's going to be.
Yeah.
It'll look good in there with that,
It
with
will.
Mom's China
underneath,
Hutch.
Yeah, underneath got those big windows.
And I'm gonna get you a different light in there too. I know you, or at least a different bulb. I know you hate those. She hates the amber colors and the yellowy lights. She every time you flip a switch on, she goes, ugh.
I don't like ceiling lights.
Yeah,
unless they're can lights. But
Okay,
I don't
you.
want those. But
Yeah.
I like lamplight, to be honest.
Yeah,
with you.
lamplight is the
a
best.
couple of lamps in a room.
I think
love
that would
it.
be fine.
So soft in there like that.
Well, yeah, the kitchen is next, and then yes, the yellowing color, which is actually a camel, will go into the kitchen, and it works in there.
It really does. Nice.
And that's the only other thing I got to say about painting is if you really want to know what something looks like, besides going off a swatch card, it is worth to buy your little cans and go in there and paint on the wall, because just because it looks like something in the store or outside or whatever, or different kind of lights, incandescent, whether fluorescent, it's going to show a different.
Because it looked like a yellow highlighter.
It did.
in your
did.
bathroom, but it looked like
Yeah.
the most calming, awesome tone in the kitchen.
In the kitchen. And then before I even did the kitchen, I grabbed a 2x4 from the garage and I went out there. And the only reason I did this was to make sure that they mixed it right.
Yeah.
And so I took it outside and I rolled about 6 foot of paint on a 2x4 and I leaned it up against the house and went back in and let it dry. And now she was in the kitchen. I said, now go out there and look at that 2x4. You'll remember, because the exterior of one of her houses was painted that way. You'll know if it's the right color or not. That way I know whether or not to go back to Sherwin-Williams.
Yeah.
And you went out there and boom, that's it.
Perfect.
So again, lighting, sizes of your room, stuff like that. It'll get you. It gets a lot of people every time. And they'll be right back to the paint store and they'll keep trying and trying. But yeah, take it from an old school painter guy. I know. All right, Mary. Hey, when we were talking the other day about the fluff of, which is a good thing, but the fluff of, in other words, people want the fluff of the Bible.
Yeah.
They want the fluff of Christianity. Yeah. Okay. And I got to thinking about that, and what that leads up to a lot of times when you're just after the fluff. when something hits the fan, it makes it even more of a tumble,
Yeah.
even more of a disappointment, even more of a let down, and then a possibility of
Yeah.
blame on the Lord,
Yeah.
or
Or
maybe not a
disbelief.
blame, but or disbelief, or just a doubt. Doubt's always a bad word. You know, that's a sin.
Yeah.
So, with that said, I wanted to just kind of talk about some of the rocky roads, but what happens with the rocky roads? All right, first of all, unbelievers scope at the idea of God's will.
Yeah.
They don't believe in God. They don't
That's
believe
right.
in anything in the Bible.
Yeah.
But sometimes when things don't go right, believers will often almost ignore it. You know what I'm saying? They will ignore God's will because it's not what they want to do. They'll go,
Yeah.
I hear you, God, but
That's not what I'm after.
that's not what I'm
Yeah,
after.
because you're not and to me that means you're not completely surrendered to the Word of God.
Correct.
And to
Yeah.
God's will for your life.
It obstacles to God's will.
Mm-hmm.
So there, what you just said,
Yeah.
if there's an obstacle
Yeah.
that,
You
in
have
other
to-
words, and a lot of it is, I want it now,
Yeah.
and it's
It's
not.
still flesh.
It's still
very
flesh.
And they just have not come
Yeah.
to the point, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't come to that point for a long time.
Right.
You know, it's okay.
Mhm.
You know,
Sure.
just keep
Sure.
keep learning and
Yeah.
stay with it.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, it is.
it's a
mhm.
process. It's
It is a
not something
process.
that just happens. For some people, it might. You know, I know some people who do. Once they
Uh-huh.
have a conversion and they attack it. But I think that's because people like that go in and read that Bible
Yeah.
and
yeah.
they go in with it and they don't let up.
Yes.
So the
yes.
maturity is a lot faster.
It's a lot faster. One of the there's more than one, but there's one particular guy, and I'm just going to say this, in the jail ministry that I see that real young dude.
Yeah, you told me about him.
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
And he's
See, he's going after it. He's not letting up on
he's not letting up. He took the
And
bull by the horns.
that's
He
right.
wants to now trust in the Lord, guys.
Yeah.
To guide his ways, to do God's will, and start now. And I can tell that he's so serious about it because he's looking forward to getting out and continuing that.
Mm-hmm.
Because we reiterate, and he brings it up too. I see what happens to a lot of guys that are in it and really strong into the Bible, and then they go out, and then the Bible's kicked to the curb.
Yeah.
And again, that's flesh, guys. It's not just because you've done some time.
Yeah. That's right.
And so that goes away. And he goes, I keep telling myself that's to not do that. In other words, stay in it and really exalt it and magnify it when I get out. In other words, really put
Yeah.
the throttle on
Yeah.
of
you get out of
the will
jail.
of God and doing God's work.
Yes, that's right. That's
You know.
right. Don't let it up just because, you
Mhm.
know. And a lot of people talk bad about inmates getting jail Jesus is what they call it.
They
you
do.
know,
I
it's
see
only-
that
You
a
only
lot.
have that
Yeah,
whenever you're in jail, but
Uh-huh.
then you get out. And I just tell them, like, that's okay.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
because it won't leave him,
Uh-huh.
and it won't leave them forever. You know, it's always going to be
Yeah.
stirring there.
Mhm,
So
right.
they may put it on a shelf,
Yeah.
but you know, they accepted it for
They
a time.
accepted it. And then
and I can't say anything about that because
Yeah.
3 times I got born again and for a period of time,
Uh-huh.
and I did the
Yeah.
same thing, even
Mhm.
though I wasn't actually in jail. So
Yeah.
I mean, it just happens.
It does. I'll give you an example of people that say that about the guys in the jail, and they're getting the jail Jesus, and a lot of them end up back in, just like you said. It could be
Yeah.
2 or 3 times. It could be,
Yeah.
or maybe they end up in TDC. Who knows? But what I'm saying is, I really go after, well, anybody, but especially guys that are incarcerated, whether it's short term or long term, because they got caught. You didn't, and I guarantee you, somebody that's scoping them is and I'm serious. A lot of them, and they're slamming these guys. Well, I guarantee you've done something just as bad or even worse. You didn't get caught,
Yeah.
but yet God still sees it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, And again, this is just burger stalks, guys. Bear with me. But okay, so God, God sees everything. But God grabbed those guys, and he, to me, it was his will to put him there, especially that young kid, because it got him out of whatever he was in that was so bad, and it's turning his life around.
That's right. Well,
okay. And you don't have to go to jail to do that. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is don't be bashing the jail and the prison guys, because, God has a will for them too. The only difference between them and us is the bars.
That's right.
They got caught, you didn't.
That's right.
And
that's true.
So.
And that's true.
So, I mean,
I always tell the girls, I said, oh gosh, I would love to be y'all, because y'all got nothing to do all day. Y'all can read that Bible all day and discuss with each other all day. And I said, that to me, that's great. They're laughing. You don't
because they knew you were right. And see, that's the thing too, is a benefit there. But that's even more important, not to let our lives get so busy that we don't get enough scripture. It's guilty of all of us. It's guilty. Mary and I have caught ourselves doing it. As far as skipping a day or two or whatever. And I know that if I don't have something of either of actual visual reading and or audio, then and so the audio happens every day.
Yeah.
For sure. Mm-hmm. And I'm like my buddy Randy. Randy goes, I read too, Richard, but he goes, man, it doesn't retain like it does audio. And it's just, we talk about that all the time. Mm-hmm. But getting back to just us in general, people in general, no matter where you are in life, if you're behind bars, you're not behind bars, whatever, just everybody, think about this. You are either living in the will of God or outside the will of God. It's only two things.
Yes.
It's only two things, man. Mm-hmm. So that's what I wanted. That's what I was working up to.
Where you go.
Right? I mean, it is.
You're right. You're right about that.
And it's not only it's a lifetime thing. It's a weekly thing. It's a daily thing. It's a minute by minute thing. Mm-hmm. So you're either in God's will or you're not.
Yes.
So that grabbing that steering wheel from him and going, I'm just gonna drive on through this. I'm gonna drive through that brick wall with that sucker ablazing because I want it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stuff like that. So the fellowship with God. I mean,
it's all flesh. It's all flesh. It says
it does.
Spirit gives birth to spirit, and flesh gives birth to flesh. So once you get on a flesh roll,
then it can be, and that in itself is an obstacle